Welcome, one and all. We are back here. It is Monday night, which means it is time again for Monday Night Nerd. Welcome, everybody, to the show. I hope you are doing well. It is good to be back. It is good to be back. It has been a great week, but we are here to talk about something that, sometimes, well, you shouldn't say sometimes, we all have to deal with this from time to time, and that is some hate online. If you've ever posted anything online, you know you're going to get probably at least somebody giving some negative feedback, and we're going to talk about the who, what, where, when, why this happens, and most importantly, how to deal with it. If this is your first time tuning into the show, my name is Myers Corp Cosplay. I am a cosplayer in the Southern Ontario area. I've been cosplaying for about 10 years. I've been going to conventions for about 15 years. And this is my show, Monday Night Nerd. We are live every single Monday night here at 7 p.m. here on YouTube and here on TikTok. And we talk about nerdy things. We talk about movies. We talk about music. We talk about cosplay. We talk about comics. We talk about wrestling. We talk about everything nerdy and a whole lot more. We've already got some people in the chat. We got Pretty Nerdy Crystal and Marcy in chat. We got a bunch of people on TikTok. It has been a long day. If you are in the Southern Ontario area, boy, it has been a windy day. It has been absolutely just blowing everybody's brains out today. I was here working, and all of a sudden I got a phone call from my wife, and my wife was like, oh, by the way, there is a piece of siding on the front lawn. We got to put it back on. So around noon I was up on a ladder fixing some siding here. It was just one of those days. It happens, but hey, I got it done, and I got it done just in time for the snow to start flying. What is up with March? What is up with March and April with these weather conditions? One day it's 17, then it's 10, then it's 1, then it's 5, then it's 12. Pick one and stick with it. That's my thought on March. All right, let's jump into a little bit of news. We got some news to jump into first, and then we're going to jump into the main event. Folks, if you are a movie fan, last night was your night. It was Oscar night. Did anyone watch the Oscars? I feel like the last time I knew anybody that really cared about the Oscars and cared about the whole event, most importantly the end of it, was with the Brendan Fraser one. Other than that, the last couple of years, they've been kind of meh. I haven't really seen a lot of people jumping for joy for it. But last night was the big event. From what I saw from the clips, it looked like everybody had a good time. Conan O'Brien was hosting. He seemed like he did a good job. The big ones that I think were important, Ryan Coogler won for Best Writing for Sinners. K-Pop Demon Hunters, which was an obvious winner, won Animated Film. And Michael B. Jordan finally gets his Oscar as lead actor for Sinners. I really got to see Sinners. I started that movie when it came out on streaming. I watched maybe 10 minutes of it, and I just was not in the mood to watch that type of movie. But everything I've heard has been amazing, so I know I have to jump back in and give that one a shot. So other than that, I don't think there was anything that really jumped out at me for winning. There was a couple in memoriams that a lot of people were upset about. Hulk Hogan wasn't mentioned. James Van Der Beek wasn't mentioned, which James Van Der Beek's kind of late to get into that lineup. But I know there's a lot of people complaining that every year it seems like they always forget somebody that was important. It comes with the territory at this point. They always forget somebody. But yeah, Oscars are over. Now we're back into the new season of movies. When it comes to movies, I know I've got to see Spider-Man sometimes, or not Spider-Man, I guess see Super Mario in the next few weeks when it comes out in April. And I also know my wife is probably going to want to go see Project Hail Mary because that is a big, big book in her life. So we'll probably go see that. And everything I've heard about that looks like it is an amazing movie. So I'll probably end up seeing that too. So get ready to hear a review coming up soon. Other TV show stuff going on right now. Daredevil Season 2 starts March 18th in the next 2 days. It is the second season on Disney+. I believe this is now the 5th season of Daredevil. I did not watch the last season. As I said here on the show back when it was debuting and I watched the first episode, if you were someone who did not want to hear about politics at the time, and that probably is continuing now, that season was very heavily around the world of politics without intentionally being. It just kind of referenced a lot of it. So I didn't really watch it because I didn't want to watch that type of stuff, but I do think I should go back and watch it. From what I've heard about the new season, Jessica Jones is going to be in there, which I'm really interested in because I love the Jessica Jones show. So I'll probably end up watching that. And if you're in the Toronto Comic-Con, Toronto area, this weekend is Toronto Comic-Con, and Marvel has posted that something from Daredevil will be at Toronto Comic-Con. So if you do not have your tickets, you should be going. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, Daredevil Season 2, Episode 1 drops in 2 days. I can't believe I am a huge Lanterns fan, and we did not talk about the Lanterns trailer on the last episode of the show. HBO Max, or HBO, whatever the hell they're calling it now, dropped the first full trailer for the new show Lanterns, based around the Green Lanterns, and everybody who is a Lanterns fan has got a very strong opinion of it. I don't have a strong opinion of it. If you haven't watched it, it is not, if you know Green Lantern, Green Lantern is a very big space and different type of aliens and such. They have shrunk the Lanterns down to something has happened into a Midwest city, and Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are going to be helping solve that. How is that going to play into a comic book character that is very fantastical and very space oriented? I don't know. I am very intrigued on what they're going to do with that. There is not a lot of powers, if any real powers are shown in the trailer. A lot of people were complaining there wasn't a lot of green in the trailer, which I have to admit, I was like, it was kind of a muted trailer. But trailers, as we've seen, have been very, they hold back on some things sometimes. So I'm thinking that's what they're doing on this one. I'm excited. I mean, I finally get another Green Lantern property that isn't a Ryan Reynolds movie. I'm happy. I can't really complain about it. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Anytime I see a trailer like this, I know there's always people up in arms for, this isn't my Green Lantern or something like that. I'm just going to enjoy the trailer because, man, there's not many Green Lantern things coming out nowadays. So I'm just going to enjoy it and sit there and look at my growing collection of DC Multiverse Green Lantern figures, which has now added 2 more today. I went on Amazon this morning and they had Guy Gardner on sale, and I've been staring at that Abin Sur figure forever, and I spent way too much money on them. So I now have 2 more added to my collection, which I think I'm up to almost 12 now. I'm trying to get one of every Lantern. I know if you're a DC toy multiverse fan, they have made 50 different Batman. They've made at least 7 different Jon Stewarts. I'm not getting every version. I just kind of want one of every character. So that will be my Fan Expo purchases, going around trying to find the rest. We have chat going on. We have Marcy in chat. We have Boomster Joe. The new Lantern show seems more grounded. I agree, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't always have to be a space opera, but hey, you never know. We've had Endgame trailers that looked very different than what actually came to fruition on screen. We'll just have to wait and see, and that's all I can do. Video game stuff. As we talked about last week, we finished Resident Evil Requiem. I loved it. I will end up probably playing it again in the near future. However, I've now jumped into my new game, which is Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. This is a game that I've been waiting to play forever. I absolutely loved the first Spider-Man. I've played that multiple times. I've platinumed it multiple times, as in I platinumed it on PS4 and platinumed it on PS5. I'm now into Spider-Man 2, and what I've been told from multiple sources and multiple friends is that I am supposed to continue to play every side mission and not miss anything, and that is kind of the way I've been playing right now. I'm about 30% through the game. I've barely done anything in the story, and I have done pretty much all side quests, which has been a lot of fun because the side quests in the first Spider-Man and this one are very rewarding. Really brings the world to life. I'm super happy with how it is. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So every week we're going to talk about how my thoughts are. So far, controls are very fun. I knew going into this that there would be a jump between Miles and Peter, which I was perfectly fine. They both play fairly similar. Their powers are a little different, but overall, really enjoying the game. The one complaint I have with it, and I had the same complaint with the first Spider-Man, is whoever is designing the costumes and are trying to come up with ideas that aren't comic book or movie related needs to be fired, because any suit in that game, whether it's Miles or Peter, that isn't based off a comic book suit or one from the movies is a complete disaster. I do not understand why they designed those suits that way. Unless there's some that are maybe one-shots from some comic that I don't know, but man, some of the design choices they've made. Even I remember seeing the pre-order bonuses, and some of them were a bunch of suits, and I'm like, these are all ugly. I don't know why anybody would want these, but yeah, whatever. So far, the game is good. I will continue to let you know as I keep playing it. We got Shinobi in chat. Lantern series actually sets up something big in the DCU, according to Gunn. I believe that, and I have heard that we will be getting a Guy Gardner appearance a couple times, I believe. I don't think it is just going to be in one episode, so that is going to make things very fun. Noah is in chat. Freaka's Workshop, what is up? We are doing a show. Right, the suits in the Sony games are ugly. Yes, they are. I don't understand why. I just do all movie and comic books. If Spider-Man has been around for decades, how do you not have 20 suits from the entire series that you just put in the game? Miles, I get. Miles is newer and hasn't really had a lot of variations, but come on. No, I 100% agree. Some of these suits are wild and bizarre. Yeah, I don't understand why, but hey, somebody probably enjoys them. I don't know who, but somebody probably does. Couple more things. If you guys have been on my social media lately, you may have noticed that I have upgraded my new spray booth. I have a new spray booth, and I'm gonna show a video. I don't know if I posted on Instagram. I posted on TikTok. Yeah, I upgraded my spray booth in my garage because I had been working with just a makeshift one over the past couple years, and it has just not been doing the job. So I ended up picking up a small greenhouse that I'd seen people use big ones and you could walk into them. I picked up a smaller one. I've got a video coming out on TikTok that's going to be more detail of how I built it. I've got one coming out for Instagram, and I've got one coming out for YouTube, a full kind of breakdown of how I built it. Not really how I built it, how I bought it, and a few additions that I made to it. So I've used it a couple times so far. I'm super happy with how it's working out. It has really made things a lot cleaner in my garage because it all kind of is tarped off. So I'm super happy with it. It was a great investment. And yeah, I think that's about it. Pretty Nerdy Crystal said, I wish I liked other games. Yes, Pretty Nerdy Crystal, if you don't know, is a big Fallout fan, and that's all she plays. This weekend, as I mentioned earlier, it is Toronto Comic-Con weekend, the first con of the season for me here in the Toronto, Southern Ontario area. March 20th to 22nd at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. I will be there on the Sunday only for the 22nd because I have the Ultimate Pass for Fan Expo. That gets me a free day, and I don't want to pay for a ticket if I don't have to on the Saturday because it's usually stupid busy. So I'll be there on the Sunday because I get in for free, and I will be rocking my J. Jonah Jameson cosplay because I can't wait to see some Spider-Man cosplayers, and I get to make fun of them the whole time. And then the weekend after that, we have Toronto Game Expo at the Enercare Center at the Exhibition Grounds in Toronto, Hall G specifically. That is March 28th and 29th. I will be there on the 28th, the Saturday. I will be walking around in that guy, Luigi, which I just got together today and made sure I had all the pieces. We have a few extra pieces being finished in the garage, which I will be adding to Luigi this year, which I'm super happy about that I finally get to add some stuff to him. And at some point during the day, we're still trying to figure out the details on this. I will be making an appearance at the Smash Brothers booth to hang out with them and talk to you guys. And if you got a little buddy who is a Mario fan, may want to stop by because I may be bringing some stuff, some little giveaways to give away to some kids who are Mario and Luigi fans. So if you see me and I'm walking around and you got someone who's with you who's a big Mario fan, come by me, tap me on the leg, tap me on the shoulder, and I might have something for you. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's kind of all the news. Pretty Near Crystal, see you all Saturday. Can't wait. Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things where I should go on the Saturday, but I never do. I always just do the Sunday because it's a free day. And if I had someone there that I could stay the night, that'd be great. But I just do not want to do that. I just do not want to do that Toronto drive 2 days in a row. I did it one year for Fan Expo. I did not get a hotel and we did the drive and I hated it. So I realized if I have to do multiple day cons, I need a place around there to stay. So just doing the Sunday this year. Maybe next year will be different. All right. If you guys are still here, I greatly appreciate you guys spending some time with me on Monday night. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Folks on TikTok, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, it would mean a lot to me too, because we do this every single week. And if you guys want to be a part of the conversation, hop over to YouTube, Myers Corp Cosplay, and we can talk there, because unfortunately I can't do this the whole time because my neck's going to start hurting. I look forward to TGE, says Boomster Joe. I've got a really itchy nose. Oh, the Coke's coming through. I'm really excited for Toronto Game Expo as well. I've got a couple things on my wish list I need to pick up. Definitely got to pick up a copy of Biohazard Resident Evil 7, because that is the only Resident Evil I don't have on disc, and maybe a couple other things. It seems like that is the con where I spend the most money, which is funny because Fan Expo is like 20 times the size. And I've just been to Fan Expo so many times, there's not much stuff I buy. Toronto Game Expo, I end up buying stuff because the prices are really good. At least last year, I will tell you, I spent so much money there because it was good price vendors. They weren't marking a ton of stuff up. So if you want something video game wise, whether it's a retro, whether it's a newer release or something like that, go to Toronto Game Expo because they got pretty darn good prices. Okay. Sponsor, and then let's get into the main event. Folks, you know, sponsor here on the podcast every single week. The sponsor is my beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife. She is always my sponsor here because I wouldn't be doing this without her. I would not be here doing this podcast, enjoying life, being married, and that is not me sucking up. It is the truth. I'm a better person because of her, and because of that, she will always be my sponsor. I love you. Okay, let's jump into the thing. Why is my nose so bloody itchy tonight? Okay, let's jump into the main event. Let's jump into the stuff that we don't really want to talk about because it is such a negative topic, but I feel it's a very relatable topic because if you've ever posted anything online, you've probably had to deal with this. So that could be anybody from a cosplayer to just a content creator to anybody at all. And that is dealing with just negativity and haters online. And it is, you know, we've touched on this topic a couple times in the past, but I felt like it kind of deserved its own episode because lately I have seen, especially in the cosplay community, a lot of people are just getting to a point of just being done with it and are just so tired, and just some of them are just not wanting to even be a part of the cosplay community anymore because the amount of flack, comments, hatred, whatever you want to call it, is just too overwhelming for them, and they just don't want to deal with it anymore. And that sucks because I've seen some amazing cosplayers and some amazing content creators just be done with it. And I feel bad because it feels like you're taking someone who's an incredible artist or someone who's an incredible content creator and just letting it dissolve into thin air. And I hate seeing that. So I want to talk about it because this is something I deal with, obviously, in this case, with a podcast, with social media, and etc. But if you don't know me, I also work in the world of marketing. I also work in digital marketing. I work in social media. I work in email. I work with website, etc. So I deal with this not just here in my private life, I guess you'd call it, but also in my job. So this is something I deal with 24/7 in multiple forms. So I have an idea of how to deal with it from multiple fronts, and we're just going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in ways that you can kind of deal with it. So the whole thing with negative comments and dealing with, you know, having to deal with the possibility of something coming up in a comment or whatever is just the reality. It's been this way pretty much since social media began. And as soon as you post something online, you kind of open the flood doors to other people's opinions, which obviously will not be positive all the time. And that's just part of the internet. And it really depends on a lot of different factors. Because cosplay and content creation and stuff like that is very artistic and very, you know, you kind of put your heart on your sleeve when you post the stuff. you kind of take it a little harder than, just sharing something that you may have seen online. And it's also something that is very easy for some people to not understand and feel like they can just say how they feel. Now, there are some topics that get a little more opinions and a little bit more negativity than others. I can say right here, and I know this is something that is probably going to frustrate a lot of people, I am against cancer. I think that is one of the worst things in the world. If I posted that online, I highly doubt there's a lot of people that are going to comment on it saying, "Well, Myers, you're wrong. I'm pro." Not going to happen. But because this is an artistic field and because you're putting yourself out there in a physical form, in an artistic form, it's very easy for people to just throw their opinion out there. And I've seen it in the cosplay world. I've seen it in the video game world. I've seen it in the wrestling world. I've seen it especially in the cosplay world because the type of people that do cosplay range across very different areas. So there are men, there's women, there's LGBTQ, there's tons of different people, every shape, size, creed, whatever is in cosplay, which means some people come out of the woodwork and, have their opinions on certain things, which are usually not valid, but that's besides the point. Now, the thing to remember when you're dealing with these things and having to deal with these comments from people is this is the vocal minority. This is something that is not as big as you think it is. Most people who enjoy your content, who are friends of yours, who are possible fans of yours, who are family, will not probably comment on your stuff. Why? I don't know. It's just something I think we've become accustomed to, that you see your friends and family on social media and you just go, "I love it. They know I love it. I don't have to post." However, the problem with that is when you post something and you don't see all the love, that negativity gets really pushed to the surface. And that kind of sucks because you sit there and you say, "Well, I thought I had all these friends and family and all that," but they just don't post. They don't comment on your stuff. They're again, I don't know if it's too busy or what. I'm not that great for it. I have tons of friends that post their stuff, and I know I don't like all their stuff. I know if they share my stuff or they comment on my stuff, I always try and comment back. I always try and say thank you for sharing, but even I can't say that I go on to every day. I don't go on every day and see everybody's post and, like everything, because I probably should, but I don't. Boomster Joe says it's quite true. It helps to not take uninvited attention personally. And it is something that is hard to not take personal, because again, you post something online, say it's a cosplay, say it's a piece of art, because that's kind of what cosplay is in its rawest form, is art. It's hard to not take that personally because you put yourself out there and you have to kind of take what comes at you. Now, there are some techniques and stuff we'll talk about later about not engaging in that stuff, but it happens. Now, there are some times, though, and we've talked about this on a previous episode, where your mindset plays a big factor on how you take in that comment. Now, I've talked about my own personal way of realizing this was when I was home alone, when my wife was on vacation and I was not. I had to stay home with the animals. I, at one point, was really into watching To Catch a Predator and Gordon Ramsay. I don't know why, but I was watching those a lot. And I was enjoying them. I kind of just had them as background stuff while I was doing stuff around the house. And when my wife came home, I realized that I was really short-tempered. And I was really, anything that she did, whether it was joking or not, I was taking it to heart. And I realized oh, it's the stuff I'm taking in that is changing my personality and changing the way I'm dealing with things. The media and stuff that you take in on a daily basis is really going to impact how you deal with these things and deal with that negativity that comes in. If you're someone like myself who I don't get any politics on my social media, I don't get any real negative stuff on my social media. So I'm taking in a lot of positivity and a lot of good things. I get a lot of cosplay stuff. I get a lot of wrestling. I get a lot of, good things to me. So I'm usually in a good frame of mind. But I know if I was in a bad frame of mind, even just getting something that is a little bit of a criticism, I could take that very differently. And I know there was a Key and Peele sketch on their show where they were texting each other about getting together for something, and one of them was reading the message in a different way than I think it was Key was taking it differently than the way Peele was sending it. That is very true about social media as well. There's been definitely times where I've gotten comments from people, and they've not really been criticisms, but I took it in a very different way than I should have. And when I commented back, I was nice about the comment back, but I was a little, I don't want to say edgier, but I had a little more force behind the comment back. And they kind of came back like, no, I didn't mean it that way. I meant it like this. And I realized, oh, that's because I'm not taking in that comment in the right mindset. So when you get those comments, make sure to take a few seconds before you start internalizing what that person is saying, because some of it might be positive criticism. Some of it might be something, just a critique of something. Say you posted something about, a new cosplay build that you're working on and you're showing off a new technique. And maybe somebody posts on there saying, hey, I got a better way of doing this that could be cheaper and it'll be easier for you. Well, you could take that a couple different ways. You could take that as, well, I appreciate the feedback. That's going to help me next time. You could also take that as, I'm doing it wrong, so this is a waste of time. I should have been doing it your way. Two very different ways to take the same type of comment. So when you get that comment, when you get that negativity, take a second, breathe, then read the comment and think about how it's coming off and who the person is that's sending this to you. So why do people leave negative comments? Why do people leave this hatred and leave these, your cosplay sucks and all that? There's many different reasons. Honestly, I've talked to people and some people are just bored. They're just bored. They're absolutely bored. I used to be like that, to be honest. I used to be bored at times, and I would see something online. It wouldn't be cosplay related, it'd be something else. And I would want to put some crummy comment because I'm in a bad mood. I'm bored. I should be doing something productive. Sometimes that's a reason. Sometimes, honestly, jealousy kicks in. And that sucks, because I don't think you should be jealous of anybody because you don't know what their story is. You don't know what they're going through. But sometimes people get jealous, and sometimes people feel like if they get ripped down, if you can rip them down, you never know, you might feel better about yourself, at least in the short term. There's a great quote that I've heard many times from a couple different people, and that is, there's two ways to make the biggest building in the city. You can either tear down every other building, or you can just build the biggest building. Some people like tearing down. I like building, but that's me. Some people want the attention. I've seen this a couple times on a couple different cosplayers where people will just slam them with what they feel like they did wrong. So the cosplayer posts something about, let's say, a convention, about how they did something at, say, a cosplay competition. And someone will just come into the comment section and say, man, this is the wrong way to do it. And they won't let up. It'll just be comment after comment after comment after comment. part of that is they feel like that's the way to do it, but also part of it is they want the attention because they want to show off that they know more than that person. It happens. Especially on platforms like TikTok, on Twitter, X. The anonymity is a big factor. And thankfully, platforms like Facebook and Instagram are a little better at it because they're a little more community-based. You kind of have to put yourself out in most ways on those platforms, but the being unknown leaves a lot of people to just not care. And I'll be honest, I don't use X because of that. Because when I did, I got a lot of hate for just posting normal things. And I have noticed that on TikTok, I could post the same video that I would on Instagram, and I know TikTok is going to get a lot more negative comments. For example, if you've been on my channel, if you watched me before, I posted about the Rob Zombie tickets on social media. I posted on Instagram. I posted on TikTok. Instagram got a little bit of traction. A couple people commented that they couldn't believe the prices. The amount of negativity that I received for that video on TikTok, a little higher about how I was an idiot. I'm not reading the ticket prices properly. You're stupid. You're not doing this. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Oh my God. Like, it's just negativity. Depends on the platform. And with TikTok, I've realized something because on Instagram, I am very into the community world here on Instagram. I really do like that. There's a lot of sharing. There's a lot of positive energy on Instagram. There's negativity. I'm not going to say there isn't. I'm not going to be stupid and be like, everything's butterflies and rainbows. No, there's negativity on every social platform. But I feel from what I've seen on my channel as well as others that there's a lot more boosting each other up on Instagram than there is on TikTok. With that, I like commenting back to people. So if you leave a comment on one of my posts, I'll usually comment back. If you share one of my posts, I will usually thank you for sharing it. I try and do that with everybody. There's probably some people that have gotten really tired of hearing me thank them for sharing my stuff, but I do appreciate it. And I have seen in some people's messages that I've messaged them multiple times thanking them for it. And it's usually variations on somewhat of a similar message of thank you for sharing my post. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a good day. Because I appreciate it. I appreciate that you found what I posted engaging enough that you want to share it, and I hope you have a good day, because some people don't hear that a lot. So, but with TikTok, I tried to do that same approach, and I realized very quickly that I can't, because there's so much negativity, and because it's so anonymous with some people, it's a lot easier for them to just keep that hate going. So, when it comes to the responses you get and the comments you get, do not feel that you have to respond to every comment. Some comments you can just leave alone. You can just let them sit there. I get them. Actually, I got one a few days ago on one of my posts, and it got hidden, thankfully. But I saw it, and I was like, okay, I could unhide it, and I could comment back, but I'm just going to let it rest, and that's okay. Not everything deserves a response. Boomster Joe says the term rage bait was coined. Yes, yeah, it happens. And that is definitely something that kicks in. There are some people that feel like, hey, I have to post something that is just going to get the comments started and get those fights started. I don't know why. Again, could be boredom, could be jealousy, could be wanting attention. I don't know. It's not something I've ever wanted to do. For the people in chat on YouTube, how do you guys handle it? How do you guys handle negativity? Do you ignore it? Do you try and kind of have a positive side? Do you just, on those days, you just feel like having an all-out war? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. It's fascinating how each platform has its own personalities. It really is. And this is something I've told a lot of people at work in various different places that I've worked, as well as I've said it here, but I'll say it again. If you were to take all of the main social media platforms. Let's say you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got X. That you could pretty much compare to cable channels. Like your Facebook would be your local news. Your grandma likes watching the local news. It's got a lot of groups that are around your neighborhood. You've got Instagram, which is pretty much, I would say, a MTV style, showing off your art, showing it to the world in different forms. You've got X, which is like a CNN. It's very news-based. And then you've got TikTok, which could be, I would say it's a little bit like, kind of like a news program, kind of like a CNN, let's say a Fox News, because because Fox has their news, but then they also have other shows, and that's TikTok's sort of a mixed bag. So they all do have their own personalities, and trying to do the same content on each platform and not changing it up, it's going to work on different platforms better. There has definitely been posts that I thought would do amazing on TikTok, but they do well on Instagram. There's ones I thought would do well on Instagram, but did well on Facebook. It really depends. It's trying to find what works on each platform because it is different personalities. Pretty Nerdy Crystal says, I only had one. Hang on, let me scroll down. I only had one, and they called me fat, essentially. Friends came to call out the guy. I just blocked him. And sometimes that's all you need to do. Just block him. Just block him. That's why it's there. I've used it so many times, and that's just not for people commenting. That is just, I don't like their content. I love turning off my comments, my fave thing to do. Some people don't like it. You can definitely go into some of your social media platforms. You can turn off your likes. You can turn off your comments. You can do anything like that that is going to help your mental health. Marcy in chat says, sometimes I delete my content as a result of their feedback. Do not do that. Do not do that. Be proud of your content. You posted those things. Whatever it is, you posted it for a reason. Don't let them pull your content down. Keep it up, because you know what? You should be proud of what you did. Boomster Joe, I playfully agree with the negative comments. It tends to disarm them. That's kind of what I do. If you've known me for a few years, infamously Fan Expo posted a video of my Gambit cosplay, the first version of it, which wasn't that great compared to the new one, on their TikTok, and that video was flooded with negativity. There was so many crummy comments, especially for the first version of the cards, of people saying, oh my god, I can see the string. And I just playfully commented back on every one of them because I found it funny. And it was fun for me to kind of think of different ways to say the same thing over and over again, because there were tons of, I could see the string, and I'm just like, I didn't call Penn and Teller to help me out, and David Copperfield messed up the illusion. Like all these things. And in the end, it ended up helping because those comments helped boost the video. And it helped get more and more views because those comments turned into conversations, which the algorithm loves. And it ended up at the end, well, I counted it as the end, Marvel itself commented on it and said the cosplay was pretty good. So overall, all those negative comments got a win for me. So I was happy about that. I think I have over 1,000 people blocked. If you're being negative, you will not get to be in my space. And that is fair. That is absolutely fair. I've probably got 40, 50 people. And again, it's not just negative comments. It's just, I don't like seeing certain types of content. I've seen some people, post things that are just put me in a bad mood. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know there's definitely been people that I've seen. I kind of give people the three strikes rule, and I definitely have family members that fall into this rule of, if they post something that I'm not a fan of, okay, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a bad day. I get that. Second time, maybe you got a couple bad days. Third time, nope, you're done. And I will block you. I probably won't unfriend you, because I know today's world, unfriending and stuff like that, that can kind of cause some issues with mental health and stuff. So I don't do that, but I will probably mute you and I won't see your posts, or I'll at least mute you on certain platforms for 30 days. And that's what I do. And that's fine. No one knows. It's just anytime they come up to me and they're like, did you see my recent post? And I go, no, No, I didn't. Tell me about it. Thankfully, in social media now, you miss most people's posts, so it's not as obvious that I just don't see your stuff anymore. All right. So funny enough, the next thing we were going to talk about is using those tools that the social media platforms give you: blocking, muting, filtering words. That's another thing, especially on Instagram. You can go into your settings and you can go to certain words and you can filter those words and you can limit comments. You can go in and find keywords that you don't like. There's especially with posting cosplay stuff, there's a lot of people that'll be like, there's a lot of bot accounts that'll be like, share it on da, 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 da. You can put words like share the content and stuff like that, and it won't let those comments come through. There are tools out there. There are things out there that will help you not have to deal with these things and don't make you feel guilty, Marcy, of pulling your content. There's this great thing out there. I'm gonna give you guys a second to get a piece of paper. There's a website I want you guys to look into, okay? It's very important. You spell it www.google.com. Great site. Type in whatever you want, especially things like how do I mute people, how do I block things, and you can find out all the information you need to make social media and posting your stuff. It's so much easier. That is my fave setting on Instagram. I love it. I definitely have keywords that I just do not get anymore. So with all these tools, with all this knowledge, why do we want to do this? Well, because we want to protect our mental health. We deal with enough on a daily basis of dealing with the world and, more importantly, having the world at our fingertips. I always say, especially today, in today's world where you see everything on your phone, on YouTube, you see everything. And I overall do not think the world is as bad as it is. I really don't. However, we are bombarded by everything. And I think that's the bigger problem of this. It's protecting your mental health and not having even more added to it by having to deal with comments and dealing with people's opinions on things when they really shouldn't be posting those comments. What was that website again? google.com. Really cool. And if you're a Gen Z, chatgpt.com. That will help you as well. It's just to protect your mental health. And there are some people, and I talked about them earlier, that are taking a break from social media, from just content creation, because they're just hitting that point of they just don't want to deal with it anymore. And that is from getting comments, but that's also from just seeing people posting things online about negative things. I try to do my best to not post anything negative online. If I see a movie, if I play a video game, if something happens at a Comic-Con, I will probably never post it on here. I'll never talk about it on the podcast if it's negative. Because we already deal with enough negative stuff. I would rather it just fall down and stop. I don't want to hear about it. So me coming on here and complaining about I hated this movie sucks, I hated this TV show. What's the point? I might quickly say, wasn't for me. But I do not understand bringing more negativity onto any social media platform. So in the end, we just want to stop these comments. We want to hold back on some of this stuff because it just kills your mental health after a while. It's just too much to take in sometimes. And with the mental health part, you also have to remember that you have to try and separate your work from you. Because with especially something like cosplay, with certain content creation, whether it's, you posting a song that you wrote on social media, or maybe you shot a short film or something online, remember that those comments that are coming in that are negative are towards the piece of art, not you. Remember that. There is a big difference. I'll tell you right now, this is Myers Corp Cosplay. This is not Mike Myers' husband. Big difference. Very different person. I will admit, I am a very different person when I'm at home. I'm not this animated, but I know I don't mind being a little bit different on here because that's kind of the thing. That's kind of what I do here. I'm very different out of convention. If you put me in a room with 100 people, I'm golden. You put me in front of 2 people who I don't know, I shut the fuck up. Like, I am dead quiet. Ask anybody who knows me. Ask my wife. I shut up so quickly when I'm around only like 2 or 3 people who I don't know. But that's the difference, is when I post stuff online, I know that is Myers Corp. I know that is very different than who I am. So when you post stuff, remember that this is, whether it's, whether you flushed it out or not, whatever you post online is kind of a brand at this point. That's kind of what we've turned social media and interest media into, is you are a brand. You are a content creator if you post stuff online. You are no different than me. You're no different than someone like a Mr. Beast. You just don't have as many followers and you are getting paid as much. There's a difference, but same thing. It's the exact same concept. He is a different person, not online. Noah in chat says something to consider as well is based on the Twitter files and Facebook correlated data. Most of the users you might engage with are more likely to be bots. Think this way and try to let the comments slide off your shoulders. It really depends on the platform. I know I've received a lot more comments on TikTok from bots. I don't get as many on Facebook. I think a lot of those have kind of died out. But definitely before on X and TikTok and stuff, I definitely see a lot more of those. But definitely something to consider. So with this, and with especially something like an Instagram, because it is so community-based and it is so, I would say, one of the most positively uplifting social media platforms, it is important to keep that community and to keep that positive side of social media. It does get hard sometimes because I know some people deal with a lot more negativity than, I do. I'm not stupid to be like, I deal with the most. Not even close. I know there are a lot worse people who have to deal with a lot more worse things than I do. So that is why I try and be as positive as I can on social media. And that is why I hope more people get more positive on social media. That is why I have a shirt made that says kindness is important and make positivity louder, because that is what I want. I want to see more positivity. I want to see more of your cosplays. I want to see more of the things you create, even if it's not cosplay. I've got friends who are, local recording artists here in the area. I want them to post. I want to hear their songs. I want to see people make short films. I want to see fan projects. I want all that stuff, because that is how you grow community, showing support for the arts and showing people the love for what they've done. Even if it's only a heart on TikTok, even if it's only a like or a positive comment or something, that could make someone want to do another one. That could make someone's day. You never know. So if you get a chance, try and post something that is a positive comment, because you never know how much impact that's going to make. So in the end, overall, we just don't want you, specifically Marcy, because you brought it up, don't let the negativity stop you from creating. Because I'm telling you now, there is way more positive people out there than there are negative. I know sometimes you may see a lot of it online, but as I said earlier, that is just the vocal minority. If you feel like you're going to go to a Comic-Con in your new cosplay and you are just going to be obliterated by hate, you are so far from the truth. You will go there and you will find a community that is going to love and celebrate everything that you are about, whether it is cosplay, whether it is an artist online, whether you're a 3D designer, whether you're, like I said, a music creator, if you're a movie creator, whatever. What you need to do is you need to show off your art, because you never know what impact that art might bring. You know, I've thankfully, and I don't want to post about it because I don't want to be braggadocious about it, but I've had people message me on Instagram, people comment on YouTube about the little video I did of showing how to use that, how to make that Gambit card trick. And I've had people tell me that that made their cosplay 10 times better. If I didn't make that video, I wouldn't have impacted somebody. That's a pretty good thing to think about when you go to bed at night. I did something, I took the time to showcase something, and that impacted somebody who I've never met. That's the positivity and the benefit of doing things on social media. So don't not post. Don't post something, get a few bad comments, and then rip it down. Love what you do. Love your art, because only you can make your art. I could only make Ghost Rider. Anybody who made another Ghost Rider is going to be different than mine. And maybe my Ghost Rider inspires someone to do something. You might be making a cosplay. You might be buying a cosplay. You might be doing something, and you might show up at an event or something, and someone sees you and they go, wow, I want to do that now. Just like that happened to me when I first started going to Comic-Con. So, in the end, push the negativity aside. Do whatever you have to do that, whether it's blocking, whether it's taking away keywords on different platforms, whether it's just not posting on some social media platforms. I do that with some things. Push that all away and start being positive. And when you see positivity, boost it. Start telling your friends how much you love their stuff. Because I'm telling you, you never know how much some people might need those comments and might take them from a bad mood into a great mood. Keep the positivity alive, everybody. We are at the 7:52 mark, and I think that is a perfect place to end it. I hope you guys appreciate it. I thank you guys on TikTok for following along and throwing in a bunch of likes. It means a lot to me. If you can, hit that follow button. We do this every single Monday night here on TikTok. And if you want to be in the chat while I'm doing the show, hop over to YouTube. Folks, next week, we will be back here at 7 o'clock p.m. and we are going to be talking about Toronto Comic Con. It is the first con of the season here in the Southern Ontario area. As I said earlier in the show, I will be at Toronto Comic Con and I will be dressed as J. Jonah Jameson. I cannot wait to run into a bunch of Spider-Man cosplayers and having some fun with them. I'm going to try and shoot some video. I'm terrible at it, but I'm going to try and do my best to get some video with some Spider-Man cosplayers. So we will be back on Monday talking about Toronto Comic Con. After that, the weekend after, we will be reviewing Toronto Game Expo because we have back-to-back cons. And then, with this new platform, we are going to have our first guest. We're going to have a guest here. It is going to be April 6th. He has been on the podcast before. He will be back again, and he brought this topic to my attention, and I said, we have to do it. And that is Mr. David Thorne will be back on the podcast, and we are going to be talking about our love for Resident Evil. He is a big Resident Evil fan. I am a big Resident Evil fan. We're going to be doing a whole hour talking about our love for that franchise, what our favorite games are, what we both thought of Requiem, because I know he played it pretty much without even realizing it. We pretty much finished it almost at the exact same time. So we're going to be doing a whole episode on Resident Evil on the 6th of April, and then we're going into the rest of the year with a whole lot more. Have a great night, folks. I appreciate it. If you can hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe and all that, and a whole lot more. I will see you hopefully at Toronto Comic Con. If I don't, I hopefully will see you at Toronto Game Expo. And if not, I will just see you back here Monday night for Monday Night Nerd every single week, 7 p.m. here on YouTube and here on TikTok. Thank you all. I will see you all very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching Monday Night Nerd. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any new episodes.